Good day and welcome to Predators Proclivity, where we look at data, and boy, do we have more data today. We look at data from the season for the NHL Nashville Predators and make comments upon it. I am your host, Preston Proctor. We did finally get the shipment of quantum energy squares. Got the multi-pack, and for some reason they didn't have any of these salted, the salted caramel crunch or whatever. We already had that one, so I got one more of two of the other flavors. I'm going to reach out to them, find out what's going on there, but it was fine because I've had those before, and the goal was to get one of all of these, and so I got the ones that I haven't tried. So it's kind of nice. I think I got three of a couple of the two I got three of. I haven't tried before, so there's plenty for Prudence to have. Sent her off with one today. She teaches math, calculus at the local inner city high school. At a local inner city high school, and she hadn't packed her lunch this morning, so normally I get up and make her coffee and help her get out of the house, and so I had to get her lunch put together and made sure to give her one of those cookie dough quantum squares. So we'll see. Today was supposed to be a day she had to do a bunch of tutoring. She tutors when she's supposed to be eating lunch. When she's supposed to be eating lunch, she tutors the sophomores. When she's got her break time, she tutors the juniors. And then there's this other student from another school who comes in and after school, and she tutors her too. So she didn't have a lot of opportunity to eat. So I thought today would be a good chance for her to try one of those quantum energy squares. They've got protein and caffeine, and nice and easy to carry. So quantumsquares.com, use the promo code PREDSPRO, and you'll get 25% off at quantumsquares.com. So hopefully my production staff, got more production staff. We got a couple more spreadsheets. I know they are up. I do have them up. The data is in them, so we should be able to get to them. I am probably going to be confused as to what I'm looking at, because normally I just had stuff and I put it into a spreadsheet, and then I copied it into my Word doc, and now I just looking at a spreadsheet. So it should be easier for me to put all this together. Just need to download stuff from the NHL and put it in my spreadsheets, and then all the calculations and everything update, and I just look at the spreadsheet instead of looking at my Word doc, and which the unfortunate part of that is that I won't necessarily have seen the data until I get in here, and I might be surprised and confused. But I'm pretty sure I checked the calculations. I'm pretty sure I've got all the right reference stuff. So I'm very excited to see how this works out, because I think that sometimes just looking at the standings and looking at where people are ranking can be misleading because of the disparity in number of games that they can play on the road and at home. And it does matter. It does matter. Teams definitely play differently. Some play better on the road, some play better at home. And we can look at it from that standpoint. I guess another way to cross these things would be to, because now oh gosh, am I going to start having more work for myself? Well, the overall, I mean, I guess you can just look at the stats on NHL and you can see the overall for the first, second, third period. So that's not necessarily anything more for me to do, but it'd be kind of interesting to see if there's any correlation between the different periods. Maybe the third period on the road and the second period at home are something that correlate very strongly for a team, and that would be kind of an interesting thing to look at. Don't look at me like that. Yeah. Yes. That the new production staff is going to have something extra to do. Yep. That falls under in your purview. So yeah. Anyway, Wow, what a start. Oh, by the way, I'm your host, Preston Proctor. Missed that part. So excited about the data. So excited about the data and screwing it up when I do it for the first time that I forgot to mention who I am. Although if you're listening to this more than once, you probably still don't know who I am. But anyway, it doesn't matter. Preston Proctor. Maybe I did did I have too much caffeine this morning? Maybe that's the problem. Okay, well, it is Thursday. And my Word document doesn't want to, for some reason my mouse is not scrolling. You know, it's nice to come in here to the studio and then start running into difficult technical problems, especially after I've started the recording. But anyway, we can we'll go with it here. Maybe it'll start working again. Who knows? Having trouble copying data from a Word doc to a spreadsheet earlier today for no obvious reason at all. Kept repasting something that I had copied from the spreadsheet instead of taking what I was copying from the Word doc. Just so bizarre. Anyway, this is not your technical resource, and I'm sure you guys have plenty of technical problems. You don't need to hear about mine. That's the way I look at it anyway. Okay. So it is Thursday, and we have the St. Louis Blues coming to town. The Blues coming to town. I think those of you that probably have listened, those of you who've listened for a while know one of my favorite games I've ever attended was in St. Louis at the old stadium. I was talking to a St. Louis fan at a college football game a couple of weeks ago, and people I was sitting next to were from St. Louis, and so we got to talking a little bit. But yeah, I think it was St. Louis versus Chicago, and it was just in the old arena. It was 20-some years ago. A very exciting game. It was just back when I was just I was just a general hockey fan, traveling a lot and would go to hockey games. I'd usually be gone for a week at a time, sometimes longer. And, when you travel every week of the year, you travel a lot like that, you have to find things to do to make it normal. And so one of the things that I did was that wherever I was at, I would go to a hockey game, minor league, roller hockey, whatever, Yeah. So, especially, I guess for some reason, in the winter, I would be traveling in cold weather areas, not skiing. I tried once we had a gig out in Utah during ski season, and I couldn't get myself put on that one. The person doing the work didn't want to be there, and I'm like, well, shoot, send me. So I'll just stay over the weekend and ski. But yeah, and then in the summer, I was going down to Texas and Florida, and it's like, Jiminy Crick, can we just switch this up? Anyway, yeah. So one of my favorite games ever, St. Louis. Yeah, Brett Hull. I was always a Brett Hull fan. Good player. Anyhow, not pulling for them tonight, even though I do have this Tarasenko jersey from back when he was in St. Louis. Got it at a Preds auction. And we were playing St. Louis the next night, and St. Louis beat us. So Prudence has never let me forget that, and she completely blames me, even though somebody was going to win the jersey. The fact that I won it was a problem. But yes, so St. Louis coming to town. It is at a regular time tonight, 7 o'clock. Woohoo! That 8:30 time. Boy, the game started at 8:30 and ended in a shootout. The later it starts, the longer it goes. Yeah, we got through the first period, and that was it. So the next morning I had to get up and go, oh, hey, the Preds won. Yay. Although I think I felt like the Preds were going to win. I would not have guessed in a shootout, but yeah. It kind of looked, just pattern for, just the numbers made it feel like the Preds had a good opportunity. And, then the sequence that Colorado was on, lose one, win two, lose one, win two, it was time to lose one, and they did. So just, one of those things that I can claim that I knew ahead of time, but still surprised, especially when I saw it was 2-2 at the end of the first. And holy cow. I guess they almost won it, 8 seconds from winning it. And 8 seconds from winning it, but then gave up a power play goal with an empty net. So 6-on-4. But yeah. All right. St. Louis, 7 o'clock tonight. Let's get back to this game. St. Louis. We're playing St. Louis tonight here in Nashville. And then we go play at St. Louis on Monday, playing Colorado Saturday, the team we just played, and then Wednesday we'll play Carolina, the team we played before we played Colorado. So a 6-game stretch, 2 games against the same 3 teams. Then we play Toronto to mix things up a little bit. Oh, we get a back-to-back then, Toronto and New York Rangers. Saw Quickie's back in the lineup. We might have to go to that game if Quickie's going to be in net. Anyhow, we're not going to so many games this year. So trying to find a few to make it to besides L.A. and Seattle. But tonight. Hum-de-dum-de-dum-de-dum-de-dum. Okay, so St. Louis is tied for 6th in the Central. They're tied with Winnipeg at 29 points. Winnipeg has one more regulation win. They've also played 2 less games, so they win the tiebreaker there. So technically St. Louis is 7th, but tied with Winnipeg in points for 6th in the division for points. They are 3 points ahead of Nashville. St. Louis is 11-13-7, but on the road they are 6-6-3. So their road record slightly better than their home record, 5-7-4 at home, 6-6-3 on the road. 7th in overtime. Yeah. 7. I could check that real quick. They've got 7 overtime losses. 7 overtime losses, which is 3rd. Now it's 3rd in the NHL. Vegas has 9. The Kings have 8. Colorado, Pittsburgh, and St. Louis all have 7. And I can see that now since I stopped and rebooted my computer because I was trying to get ESPN to show me the league rankings, and it kept downloading HTMLs, and then the other things stopped working. So lots of technical problems here this morning. Hopefully we remedied. Okay, so that is that's 7 overall. For St. Louis, this game is the first game, the only game. It's a 1-game road trip. Okay, let's get going here. After they had a 1-game homestand. It is the front end of a back-to-back, and so this is going to tie them with the most back-to-backs in the league. They have had quite a few. I thought last year that Nashville was having a lot of back-to-backs and back-to-backs early, and I think this year they did. Nashville's had 4. This is going to be the 6th set of back-to-backs, so that's a total of 12 games, and St. Louis has played points. St. Louis has played 31, and 12 have been in back-to-back. So it's 12 in back-to-back and 19 not. So what's that? 40% of their games have been in back-to-back situations, which, again, if if you're playing well and you're in back-to-back situations, that's fine. St. Louis was not early playing well. Like their last two back-to-backs, they did win both of them. Overall, usually get to this more later. Overall, they what is that? They'd be 5-4-1 in these back-to-back situations. Typically, I guess Hofer played the first game in the first one, and then Bennington and the back. Let's see the other ones. Well, I guess it's been fairly split. 3 times Benningham has played in the first one, and twice Hofer has played in the first one. So I'm probably saying that name wrong too. Anyway, so tonight's game will be the front end of a back-to-back for St. Louis. Next up for them is a 4-game homestand. Friday, Chicago. Monday, Nashville. Then Wednesday, Winnipeg, and Thursday, New York Rangers. So they all have their 7th back-to-back next week. That's a lot. That is a lot. And they're not the ones traveling. They had to travel overseas, so I don't know why their schedule is so weird. But that's what it is. Maybe it'll play in Nashville's advantage. Maybe not. For the series, this is the first of 4 between these two teams. 2 in the next up are 2 in St. Louis on the 15th and 27th of December. So we'll play 3 times here in December. And then won't play them again until the beginning of February in Nashville, February 2nd. So 3 times these teams will play in December. Last year, 3 times they played in March. So they played once in December in St. Louis, and then 3 last year they were alternated St. Louis, Nashville, St. Louis, Nashville. So last year they played in Nashville March 18th, and then in St. Louis on the 23rd, and then in Nashville on the 27th. So they were, I guess, got play St. Louis a lot in 1 month. That seems to be the way things go. So that's a schedule. Personnel out for St. Louis is number 13 right wing Alexei Toropchenko. Not expected back until the 15th. Number 77 center Nick Bujstad. Not expected back until the 17th. 25 right wing Jordan Curo. Not expected back till 27th. They're going to miss him. He does have stats we're going to talk about. Bajugstad does too. Number 21 right wing Jimmy Snuggerud. Oh my gosh. I could look these things up and pronounce them and figure out how to pronounce them, but then I'd come in here and I'd screw them up anyway. But Jimmy, not expected back until the middle of January, the 13th. And then one thing was interesting, defenseman Torrey Krug, number 47, he didn't even play at all last year, not expected to play this year. He's been out since October of 2024. It's interesting. It didn't really look like he had a lot of stats, but he's got to be an important player for them. His contract is worth $6.5 million a year. So they've got to be missing him. Not exactly sure what's going on there, but he's still listed with the team in long-term injured reserve, 2 years. Wow. Tough to be a right wing on this team. They got 3 injured right wings, and so they called one up. I don't feel like LaRue that gets injured, but he was called up on the 8th, so I didn't see that he was injured yet. Number 56 right wing Hugh McGing, recalled from the Springfield Thunderbirds. And so many Springfields, I looked it up. Massachusetts. Springfield, Massachusetts. The Thunderbirds. For your Preds, the Preds are 8th in the Central, 26 points, 11-14-4. At home, they are 7-8-2. 3 points in 2 games behind St. Louis. 3 points in 2 games. Is that right? So if they won both of those games, won both of those games, they'd climb over St. Louis. Woo-hoo-hoo. The 3 points behind Winnipeg, and Winnipeg, St. Louis tied. So Winnipeg has played the same number of games as Nashville. Nashville, I think this might still work. Click on the thing. Yep, it did work. Instead of downloading an HTML, that's handy. Vancouver is now on the bottom. Vancouver has played one more game than Nashville, has one less point. So that's a favorable circumstance for Nashville not being in the bottom I guess, I don't know. I guess we'll see. Calgary is just above Nashville. They've played 3 more games, have 2 more points. So then another team, Nashville, ought to be able to climb over. And then we got Buffalo at having played 30 games, 2 points ahead of Nashville, played 1 more. And then we get into St. Louis and Winnipeg. So right here, we've got the bottom 3 of the Central are 3 of the 6 teams in the bottom of the league. So that's very, very proud moment. Last year, what was it? Chicago and Nashville were in the bottom, but they had San Jose reigning in the bottom spot, just sitting there loving life. And so the team, where is San Jose? San Jose, 31 points. They're currently 5th place in the Pacific, so they're having a little better season than last year. Chicago having a better season than last year. Nashville not. Nashville is not. Just have to say it. I know the players don't want to talk about last season, but when, like I said, when this season and last season seem to be looking similar, well, what choice do you have? But, hopefully things can be turned around. This is the second of a 2-game homestand. They're 1-0, having beaten Colorado in a shootout Tuesday night. Next 2 on the road, the same 2 teams they just played on this homestand. Saturday, St. Louis, Monday, St. Louis. That would be the production staff just doing global change without changing. Saturday is Colorado. Colorado. What is the time of those games? Saturday is a weekend game, but that's at 8 o'clock local, or 8 o'clock here in Nashville, so 7 o'clock local, and then St. Louis it's at 7. So both of the upcoming games at 7 o'clock local time, and then Carolina's at 7. Toronto on a Saturday is at 6. So Saturday-Sunday will be next weekend is a back-to-back for the Preds. Both of those games at 6 o'clock here in Nashville. Okay, so the same people are now. Week number 48 defenseman Nick Perbix is back off the injured list. Did play versus Colorado the other night, but the other 4 still on there. Cole Smith. Hey, Cole Smith got moved up to today. So he had been the 15th, and now it's listed as today. And I've had a number of things to do today, and I haven't not quite in here at the time I like to do it. And so for that reason, it's entirely possible data has changed. Ooh, do we have the preview the lineups? We could preview the lineups. We do not have confirmed goaltenders for tonight, but I've given up on predicting those because I'm so good at it. Looks like they're anticipating the Preds going with 11 forwards and 7 defensemen. Not sure the reason for that, but I guess we'll find out. But yep, Cole Smith expected back today, so that's good news. I got moved up a couple of days. Number 36 right wing Cole Smith, number 68 left wing Zachary Leroux. I don't know how they pronounce it. It's a French word for me. Anyway, so he's been moved out. He was supposed to be the 9th. Now it's the 27th. Number 20 defenseman Justin Barron expected back on the 15th of December, and number 89 center Ozzy Weisblatt month today. Boy, that's he's month today. No, it's month to month. Another production issue. And month to month, not expected back until the 26th of February. Okay, so that takes us to stats. And I have stats. Boy, do I have stats. I got so many stats, I don't know what I'm doing anymore. I think that is probably the most accurate thing I can say at this point. Okay, so we always start off with the first goal. Excuse me. The first goal, the Preds have played 17 games at home, so we'll just focus on the home numbers. They did not get the first goal against Colorado the other night, but they did win the game. So that is now starting to turn around, which is good. So, and when they're here in Nashville and they don't get it, it's 3-6-1. 3-6-1 overall. So that's just a 2-1 advantage for the opponents. It was a lot worse than that. So that's, that's a good number coming around. If it happens in the first period, the Preds are 2-6-1. So that actually is a 3-1 disadvantage, but it was not was it a disadvantage? I don't know. They won the game the other night. The one time that they haven't gotten it, and it happened in the second period, they're 1-0. So there you go. When they do get it here in Nashville, they're 4-2-1. So a little, maybe a coin flip, maybe you want to call it a 2-1 advantage. It's a slight advantage. The overtime loss with 4-2 kind of makes it a little bit more look like a coin flip, but at least it's weighted in their favor. So that's 4 out of 7, which what's that? 17, 4, 70, not 70, not 50, 56, 4, 7, 28, 68. Sorry, 68%. So to 32. If it happens in the first period, more, you'd call that a coin flip, 3-2-1. Got a point out of one of it, but kind of a coin flip of whether or not they win. And then if it happens in the second period, it's only happened once. Preds got the first goal in the second period, and they won that game. So both times here in Nashville that the first goal has happened in the second period, they won the game. So that's good. Winning by period here at the home. They did tie the game the other night, so it's 4-4-9 in the first period. 4-4-9, so, have a little heavier weighted towards tying the first period. In the second period, they tied the second period, so that's 3-7-7. So that's not looking too good. They tied the third period the other night as well. So that's 4-10-3. So a couple more data points there on the tying the third period. I have to say, the shootout, they're 1-2-2, and then in the overtime, they're 1-2-2, and then in shootouts, they're 2-0. So there you go. Yeah. Anyway, but that's kind of interesting. But how does that correlate to the first period? Maybe we'll try. Maybe we'll try the combinatorics of the second and third period. But So how does all of that translate? Winning the period translate to winning the game? And so we'll just stick here at home. They did tie the game the other night, so they tied and they won. So that's 9 times, so 5 and 4. So it was a little bit, what's that? 9 is 11, 55% to 46%. And if they win the first period, that's only 50%, 2-2. But the 4 times they've lost the first period, they did lose all 4 of those games. The second period doesn't look better. It looks worse, frankly. 3 times they've won the second period here in Nashville, and they're 1-2. So 33% of the times they won the game. And so 1-6 when they lose. So at least there's a win in that column. Tying the second period here at home, 5-2. 5-2. We'll get to the combinatorics here, the first and second period. The third period, The 4 times they've won the third period, they're 3-1, and that's even taking out empty nets. When they've lost the third period, 1-9, so at least there's a 1. Taking out empty nets, they're 1-5. And then the 3 times they tied the third period, they won all 3 of those. Taking out the empty nets, tying the period has actually happened 7 times, and they are 3-4. Combinatorics of the first and second, again, looking here at home, tying the first, tying the second has happened the most, 4 times. How many times? What's their home record? 15, 17. So they played 17 games and 4 times, so that's 25% of the time, just under 25%. But the highest percentage is to tie the first and tie the second. That's exciting. Next up is to tie the first and lose the second. That's happened 3 times, and in those scenarios, they're 1-1-1. So that's really a coin flip there on how the result is going to come out. 2-2-2-1-1. Just looking at the numbers here, so the losing the second. That's happened 7 times. 7 times they've tied. But losing the second, the only scenario where they won those games was, or even went to overtime, was when they tied the first. If they win or lose the first period, then tie the second, both of those have happened twice, and they're 0-2-0. Go figure. Go figure. And then they have never lost the first and won the second. That hasn't happened, but they have won the first and won the second once, and you win 2 periods, you're going to win the game, so that's 1-0. 7 times they have tied the second. Like I said, 4 times they tied the first to tie the second. Twice they lost the first and tied the second, and they lost both of those. Of course, I know that's only losing 1 period, but when they win the first and tie the second, that only happened once, and they're 1-0. So the best scenario is, unfortunately, to tie the first and tie the second, which they did the other night, and they won the game. Woo! You got to be kidding me. Let's take a quick look at the combinatorics of the second and third periods, and we'll just stick again with the home. The interesting thing, the combinatorics of the second and third, what has happened the most is to lose the second and lose the third. That has happened 5 times, and they're 0-5-0. But again, that makes sense. You lose 2 periods, you're going to lose the game. That scenario, that's also the one that's happened the most, 10 times, losing the third. And the only time they won a game is when they had tied the second. So that's not looking very good. Twice they won the second and lost the third. They're 0-1-1. But yeah, when they tie the second and lose the third, they're 1-2. The 3 times that has happened, and that the 5-3, that's the scenarios that has happened the most. The scenario that's happened the most: to lose the second, lose the third, then after that tie the second, lose the third, and then there's 4 scenarios that have happened twice. Only 1 scenario that's happened once, which is to win the second and tie the third, and then that is. And then what hasn't happened is to win the second and win the third, or lose the second and tie the third. So that's the kind of interesting combinatorics there. And all of that takes us to goal scoring. Sometimes I've got these graphs of the difference in scoring by period, and then difference in scoring by period then based upon the outcome of the first period. And I'm going to have to dive into this sometime and see if I can find some data that looks interesting. But just kind of, there's so much, the combinatorics on that is pretty pretty big because the difference in scoring by period, and then by home, by road, and then I've got the difference in scoring between the first and second, between the second and third, between the first and third. So there's quite a bit of data in here that might be interesting, but I'd really need to boil that down to something that me staring at it while talking to the mic is not going to be good. Probably be, from the one of the goals of this program is to help those that are having trouble sleeping. From that goal, maybe it would be maybe put together a special broadcast of me mumbling and jumbling and going through that data. That really help those of you with sleeping problems. But anyway, not doing it today. Winning goal. The winning goal was in a shootout the other night. So that's just so weird. That is so weird. So, okay, let's just stick with the home numbers. And it's really pretty even. The third period does have the highest number, 5, which is 29%, then followed by the second period with 4, 24%, and then evenly between first and overtime with 3, 18%, and then twice in a shootout, so 12%. So very evenly spread around. When the Preds win, what's that, is that number right? That number's right, yeah. So twice it's been in the third period and in a shootout, and that's more than overtime first or second, which again is just so bizarre. When the opponents win 30% of the time, they get the goals in the second, third, which is 3, and then twice in first and overtime and not in a shootout. So those numbers just aren't just kind of muddled. Nothing to take away from that. The away numbers must be really weighted. They are weighted. Oh, that is interesting. The away numbers are weighted towards the second period. No, that's the third period. Anyway, home team versus road team win. The home team did win the other night. That was in a shootout. When the home team wins, when the Preds play, the highest percentage is the second period, 4, 27%, and then 3 times in the first, third, and overtime, and then twice in a shootout. When the road team wins 14 times, that has happened, with the highest percentage being the third period, 43%, 6. And then next up is the second period in overtime with 3 and 21%. And then the last 2 data points fall into the first period, 14%. Goal scoring. The Preds, boy, that game the other night. Here at home, the Preds are staying even with their opponent in the first period, 16-16. What does that work out to be? 16-16. Where are those numbers? I guess I don't have those numbers. I was looking for per game numbers. But what have we got? We've got 17 home games and 16-16. So almost a game, almost a goal a game for both. Of course, it was 2 for both the other night. The second period, the Preds keeping it close, 13-17. Being outscored by 4, but in the third period, they're being outscored by 9. Of course, they're being outscored 1-2 in overtime, but outscoring the opponents 2-0 in the shootout. Anyway, so that is the goal scoring. So the first period, pretty even. The second period is close, and the third period, not so much. Okay, that takes us to the matchups, which is where all these new spreadsheets come into play. So let's see if we can do this. All right, goal scoring. Goals by period split. Okay. Goal scoring. Okay, that's not right. Yeah. So, yeah, like I said, this is work in progress. All right. So the Preds are at home. The Preds are at home. Okay. The Preds are at home, which means St. Louis is on the road. Okay. So I have found it. Yeah, you're auto-saving. Thank you. You're covering up my data. All right, so St. Louis has played 15 games on the road. The Preds have played 17. So, yeah, I did that, and I did that in another spread. Oh, come on. Come off of it. I did that in another spreadsheet. Let me pull that up quick. The PK, I have this. Yes. So the Blues have played 15. Yeah, this is in 15 games on the road. And so that pretty much puts them smack dab in the middle of the pack. There are 10 teams that have played 15 games, 11 that have played more, and 11 that have played less. So the Blues are right there in the middle. The Predators, having played 17 home games, are in the top of the league. There's one team that has played more, and there are 4 that have played the same, and 27 that have played less. So, so that should really, as far as just the numbers go, kind of weight things a little bit, But what we have done is that we have gone and done it on a per game basis. So, yeah, okay. So I didn't understand it when I first looked at it. Okay, now I do. I need better titles on these. Okay, so from a overall standpoint, the St. Louis has scored 40 goals, and that puts them 24th in the league. But they are 27th in the league when you look at it on a per game basis at 2.67. The Preds are 17th in the league in goals for at home with 44. But on a per game basis, that's 2.59. So they're actually 27th in the league on a per game basis. And so that's why it's interesting to look at this from a per game thing, because of the ranges being so different, right? Those totals are all wrong too. Anyway, I have to fix these titles. There's the goals for. Okay, so that's overall. So overall, the Blues and the Predators are 27th in the league per game on scoring goals overall for the game. 2.59, 2.67. So they're very close. In the first period, just again, I'm going to walk through these a little bit just so. Kind of see how things change. So in the first period, the Blues are 5th in the league in scoring with 15 goals on the road. On a per game basis, they're actually 7th, so that's still pretty good with 1 goal per game. And the league average on the road, goals for, that's minimum, right? Is 0.85, so St. Louis is actually ahead of schedule on scoring on the road in the first period. The Predators have scored 16 goals. They're 6th in the league at home in scoring, but they dropped to 9th when it comes to the per game. They 0.94. That's actually above average. 0.86 for home teams, 0.85 for road teams. So both teams are above average in the top of the league as far as goal scoring in the first. The second period, the Blues have scored 14. The Preds have scored 13. That is 13th and 20th respectively, just from a total standpoint. But then when we look at per game, the St. Louis drops to 18th and Nashville drops to 28th. So that's St. Louis 0.93 per game, Nashville 0.76, and on the road the average is 0.97. So St. Louis slightly low average. The home team scoring 1.06 though, so the Preds are quite a bit behind there. We come to the third period. We come to the third period, and the Blues have scored 11. The Preds have scored 14. That would be, just from a number standpoint, 29th and 23rd on the road and at home. But when you take it and you do the per game, the Blues are next to last in the league at 0.73 goals scored in the league. 1.08 is the average for teams on the road scoring. So they're quite a bit under. The Preds are 25th, 0.82, and in the league it's 1.05. So both of these teams are above average in the first. You could say, I guess, St. Louis is close to average in the second, but the Preds are not, and neither team really in the third. So where does that go? So goals against. Okay, so St. Louis has scored 47, or had 47 goals scored against them. The Preds have had 58, so St. Louis is 14th in the league and being scored against on the road. The Preds 4th in the league and being scored against at home. When you take the per game, they're staying pretty close. They both drop. The St. Louis 17th in the league and the Preds 6th with, where's the goals against? The total goals against on average on the road is 3.06 and St. Louis is 3.13. So that is close. Goals against for home teams, 2.98, and the Preds are about a half a goal ahead of that. 3.41. But still, move because of the, they move from 4th to 6th when you go from just total goals to goals per game. Again, it's goal against. So what's happening? In the first period, the Blues have given up 11 goals. The Preds have given up 16. So that would be 20th for the Blues and 3rd for the Preds. Taking that on average, though, the Preds dropped to 10th in the league and giving up goals against. The league average giving up for a home team in the first period is 0.85, and the Preds are giving up 0.94, so that doesn't sound as bad as it did initially. 10th in the league on at home, giving up goals in the first period. The St. Louis drops to 19th, or I guess raises to 19th. They're 20th, but the 19th on a per goal average of 0.73, and so that is below average. That's below the league average of 0.86. They're both teams first period above average in goal scoring, and about middle third for both of them with regards to giving up goals in the first. So what would that imply? I would guess you would see probably an equal number of goals between the Blues and the Preds. Probably the first period's going to wind up a tie with a goal on both. Kind of depend also, I think, on special teams probably when it's all said and done. Let's look at the second period. Goals against in the second period. St. Louis is 6th in the league and being scored against on the road, and the Preds are 7th in the league and being scored against at home. 19 for St. Louis and 17 for the Preds. Again, coming down and saying, okay, on a per game average, the Preds dropped to 10th. They've given up one goal on average, one goal a game in the second, and St. Louis has given a 1.27, so they're 7th in the league. So that those numbers stay roughly about the same. League average for giving up a goal on the road, 1.06. So compare that to the 1.27, about 0.2 of a goal ahead of schedule for St. Louis in the second. .96 is the league average at home to give up a goal in the second period, and the Preds are at 1. So they're really, really close to league average here in the second period. Problem is that they're not very good at scoring in the second period. So what would we still probably say the Preds would score a goal in the second, but St. Louis would not. So I think at this point, we could say the first period was a tie. The second period, the Preds are going to get a goal. This will be interesting to see how this works out. I'd be kind of curious to see if any of this means anything. The third period, the Blues are 20th in the league with 14. The Preds are second in the league, 23, which does drop to fifth. 1.35 for the Preds, league average 1.06, so they're 0.27 ahead there. And on average, the Blues are giving up 0.93 in the third, which is below average. Below average there, so the Preds are above average. So St. Louis is 19th in the league with regards to that. And so then the scoring, even either side scoring. I'd say if anything was going to happen, probably the Blues would score and go to overtime. And we'll see how that works out. That's just a rough. I wasn't expecting to do some sort of analysis like that, but there you go. I guess since they're going to overtime, it'd be nice to know what they've done in overtime. But I do have that, but I didn't pull that forward. And I don't think I want to do it extemporaneously. So let's not. What I do want to go to is start talking about special teams, since that could make the difference here between these two teams tonight. So the Preds are at home, which means St. Louis is on the road. The Preds do have the number one penalty kill percentage-wise. So the percentages I can go with. I'm really fine with that. As far as that's the number of games. It would be important to call that out too. So at 89.1%, the Preds have the number one power play or penalty kill, home penalty kill, 89.1%, 6 goals given up on 55 opportunities. They've scored 1 shorthanded goal. So their net rank is now third. I think it was Buffalo. I think I saw had gone ahead of them. Their net percentage, 90.9%. And as far as ranking goes on goals and opportunities, they are second in the league in opportunities and 24th in the league in giving up goals. So that's kind of the ratio that you would like. Total shots times shorthanded divided by games played, they would be second in the league with regards to that. Goals against divided by games played, second in the league, but I reversed that to where that's a good stat. So there's only one team that has a lower goals against per game average on the penalty kill. So yeah, the Preds doing pretty good there. The St. Louis Blues are 14th with regards to their percentage, 82.5%. 7 goals against on 40 opportunities, so they've given up 1 more goal on 15 less opportunities than the Preds. Of course, they've played 2 less games on the road than the Preds have played at home. They have scored 2 shorthanded goals, so they jump up to 5th in the league with the net 87.5%. As far as goals scored, they are 22nd in the league in being scored on, and as far as opportunity goes, their opportunity rank is 25th in the league. So when you take a look at by games played, they actually drop to 29th in the league in number of times shorthanded by games played. So not a lot. I guess not as penalized a team. And then 7th in the league in goals against per games played. So only 6, so maybe I should stick with the other way of doing that. But one of the better teams, again, as far as not being scored on. As far as the power play goes, if that wasn't difficult enough, we'll figure this out. Okay, so on a percentage basis, both teams are 16th in the league. St. Louis is 19.5% on the road, and the Preds are 19.6% at home. The Blues have scored 8 goals. That would be goals for, since it's power play. I need to get the labels right. 8 goals on 41 opportunities and have given up one shorthanded goal. Their net rank is 17th, 17.1%. As far as goals scored, they're 15th overall in the league in number of goals scored. And then as far as opportunities, 18th. That when you take by games played, they're actually 20th in the league in the number of times they've been on the power play. And then as far as game goals scored, 15th. So 15th in goals, but 20th in games played. So that's a pretty good ratio there. The Preds have scored. Got to change the labels here, guys. Have scored 10 goals on 51 opportunities, so they have 2 more goals on 10 more opportunities, and that's right at 20%, which is right where they're at. So that's funny. They have not given up a shorthanded goal. Their net rank jumps to 13th because of that, so 19.6% net. As far as gross goals, goals scored on, they're 12th in the league and being scored on, and 11th in opportunities. So 11th in opportunity, 12th. So that's a pretty decent. So that's not excellent, but at least, as far as where they rank with goals to opportunities, they've had more opportunities than goals scored against them. When you start taking a look at per game, they are 24th in the league per game on the number of times that they have had the power play, and 18th in scoring goals on per game basis. So that's good. So that's actually better than I would have thought. So the power play, both teams' power play seem to be taking advantage of it. Maybe not the highest percentage in the world, but it looks like they're more productive than the number of opportunities that they've been given, at least, ranking in the NHL. So that's, I think that's pretty good. So both power plays pretty good. Both penalty kills decent. Maybe the Preds penalty kill definitely better. So I think probably more likely the Preds would get a power play goal than St. Louis. Of course, it also depends on how many penalties you take. And, number shorthanded, second in the league. So that's even on a games played basis. So that's not good. They take too many penalties, and I guess especially here in Nashville. Which takes us to people to watch. Wow. So I think that went about as well as I could have anticipated. All right. Players to watch. I got the list from. I think I've got the roster listed for St. Louis. I guess the good news for them is that they've got a lot of players that are contributing, which means you don't have so many people to watch. To focus on. You've got a lot of people that you have to focus on, I guess would be the way to put it. Top of the list, though, would be number 63 left wing Jake Neighbors. He's first on the team in goals with 7. Must not have any assists because he's not listed. And he's first on the team in shooting percentage. Now, these are road stats. This is one thing where was interesting because I forgot to look at their stats from road, and I was looking at overall stats, and I was going through this, and then I was like names that I wasn't even putting up. I hadn't even put up because I think I'd gotten through goals and assists and points. And most of the people I'm mentioning were not in the overall. These are people that specialize or play better on the road. And so I think that's a good way to look at this stuff. And I think, again, the 35% shooting percentage for Jake Neighbors is dangerous. He leads the team in goals on the road with 7 on 20 shots. Next up, second on the team in shooting percent is Nick Bujicad. But he's injured, but he's got 4 goals on 19 shots for 21.1%, so we don't even worry about him. But yeah, next up, this guy who's second on the team in goals with 5 is also third on the team in shooting percentage with over 20%. So 25 shots and 5 goals. So the guys that are leading the team in goals on the road. Now, what was to put this all away? Too early, I guess. But St. Louis has played 15 games on the road, and Jake Neighbors has 7 goals. So he's getting like half a goal a game. So this would be the 16th. 16th, so he would need to score a goal in order to keep that rate going. Braden Shen, like I said, second in goals with 5, second on the team in points with 9, number 10. So I think those are the two guys. I'm not exactly sure how to do this, but first in shooting is number 81 left wing Dylan Holloway. He's first on the team with 34, tied with Jordan Carew, who is injured, so we don't need to worry about him, but he's first on the team in shots with 34, first on the team in assists with 7, and so he's second on the team in points with 9. First on the team in points is number 72 defenseman Justin Falk, who is second on the team in assists with 6. They have 3 players who have 6 assists, who are tied for second with 6 assists. They've got 3 players who are tied with 9, second on the team in points with 9. So, where do you go from there? The guys with 6 assists are Justin Falk, Pavel Buchnevich, and Cam Fowler. Cam Fowler of Anaheim fame. I think it was last year he got traded to St. Louis. But yeah, so there's a lot of guys there. The defenseman with the most ice time, Philip Broberg, no other stats. The center, the forward with the most ice time, Robert Thomas, no other stats. So there's a lot of people to list, and 2 of the guys are injured. So I think keeping an eye on number 63 and number 10 is warranted, as well as number 72, defenseman Justin Falk. So there's just a lot of people, a lot of productivity from a number of players on this team. So they're a dangerous team. The Preds, I have a lot of people listed too. Forsberg first on the team in goals with 9, first on the team with points with 15, first on the team shooting with 57. Second across the board, number 90, center Ryan O'Reilly, second with goals with 5, second on the team in assists with 7, second on the team in points with 12. He's the top forward with ice time. He's 5th on the team with 1956. First on the team in assists is number 77 right wing Luke Evangelista. He's first with 9. And then, so he's second on the team in points with 12, and he's second on the team in shooting with 39. Eric Halla and Spencer Stastny also second on the team in assists with 7. So there are three players on the Preds who are second in assists, just like 3 on St. Louis. So, yeah, interesting. Yossi, the most ice time, no other stats, 22:59. Top on the team, on the road or at home, and shooting percentage is number 49, left wing Reed Schaefer, 33.3%, 2 goals on 6 shots, so not that much, but he hadn't played but a couple of games too. So gotta Got to watch that. If I remember, again, my notes from training camp was that he was really good in traffic. It was a lot of people around. He was able to take the puck through it. Second on the team, not first. Second on the team, shooting percentage of 21.4% is number 37 defenseman Nick Blankenberg. 3 goals on 14 shots. So let's get to momentum. So that's where the St. Louis is going to be playing yet another back-to-back tonight and tomorrow. They did win both of the last two. The last back-to-back were both away, Ottawa and Montreal. Before that, were both at home, Ottawa and Utah. They lost the 2 before that, both at home. The 2 before that was split, and that was away. So this one is an away and home, just like the first one, and they lost both of those. So I don't know that that's really going to matter, but here they are playing in yet another back-to-back. They are 6-6-3 on the road. They did lose their last game, which did end a 2-game winning streak. This is the only game of their road trip. They were 2-1 on their last road trip. Against the Central Division, they're 2-3-0, having beaten Dallas and Utah and lost to Minnesota, Chicago, and Utah. And then they're on a back-to-back. Nashville is 6-8-2 at home. They did win the last game, making them 1-0 in this homestand. In the last homestand, they were 1-1. 2-5-2 against the Central, having beaten Chicago and now Colorado, losing to St. Louis, and Winnipeg and Dallas lost to both of them twice, and then overtime losses to Minnesota and Utah. I think that the most dangerous thing about this game is the Colorado win. I think, the Preds have had problems with getting up for one game and not for the next. The other thing that I would say is that in the 6 games previous to this one, they'd kind of have the same sort of thing going on that Colorado did. They'd win 2, lose 1, win 2, lose 1. And so they've won 1. So I'd say, so they beat St. St. and then lose to Colorado would be kind of that pattern. St. Louis, the last bunch of games that they lost to, 1-2, lost 2, 1-2. They lost the last game, so I think it's in the cards. Nashville's going to win this one. So Hofer was in goal in the last one, so we're going to get Bennington. So it looks like in this back-to-back, they're going to be Bennington and Hofer, which they have done 3 times. And Bennington is 1-2 in those circumstances. So, So that's our show for today. For what it is. Thanks for getting through this. I'll get better at these stats. I'll get my columns make more sense, and I should be able to get through it a lot better. I think it is the per game stuff is a lot more relevant because there is such a disparity. So I think it's a good way to go. Thanks for listening. I am Preston Proctor, and you've been listening to Predators Proclivity.